Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the halfway point of Season 6 of Uncaged. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me, as always, is my boy, DC Daniel Crimmins. Daniel, how you doing? I know we love each other and we're friends, but don't hug me and kick me in the dick. Stupid. With that being said, I think that is a great reminder of how we're going to talk about in this episode. So we figured, since it is WrestleMania season as of this recording, we are going to do an episode on what went wrong with John Cena's heel turn from last year in 2025, from the Elimination Chamber to SummerSlam, and what we would have done differently, and really what the hell and why. So I'm going to start and preface it with this, and I'm going to ask you, his first heel run, which a lot of people don't even realize was only a year, was from October of 2002 to November of 2003. Did you like his first heel run as the Doctor of Thugonomics?
At first, I wasn't convinced. I thought it was kind of weird. It's like, what the fuck is this Vanilla Ice bullshit?
Right.
But it's like, okay, this isn't bad. It's something. It's something different. It's certainly a lot better than the colored tights.
That was my thing too. So from watching this guy with ruthless aggression and coming out with the tights, the hair, he's wrestling random people like Rico, Reverend Devon, Test. He's wrestling Chris Jericho on pay-per-view. He's teaming up with The Undertaker, and he's doing stuff. He's in there with Brock. He's in there with a lot of these people. And the heel turn comes when him and Billy Kidman are going against Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit in the SmackDown tournament, and John Cena turns on Billy Kidman. They have a match, and then Cena wins by pinning him with his feet on the ropes. Then Kidman pins him with the tights. And do you actually remember the match that was supposed to be Cena's last match, but when he got fired, before he was originally going to get fired in 2002?
No.
So he wrestled at Rebellion 2002. It was a mixed tag team match. It was John Cena and Dawn Marie against Billy Kidman and Tori Wilson, and Kidman hit him with the shooting star to win. And that was supposed to be, as John has said in interviews, that Rebellion tour in the UK was supposed to be it for him because they weren't seeing anything him, and Vince was going to release him. And then, of course, Stephanie McMahon and all of them heard him rapping, and that's how the Dr. Thugonomics was born, with the Vanilla Ice on that Halloween episode of SmackDown. So to even preface that, do you think John Cena would have done well in like a TNA if he had gotten released at the time?
I could see it. Honestly, what wonders me, because I'm sure there's an alternate universe where this happened.
Yeah.
Imagine a John Cena in New Japan.
Ooh, with the Chonos and all them at the time.
Yeah. Because realistically, we kind of got watered down by the 5 moves of doom, as they say, but people forget Cena could go, have good matches.
And I think that's kind of what irked me about when they turned him babyface with the hustle, loyalty, respect. Like, we're watching him do actual moves and him wrestle, like we saw in UPW and OVW. But then once he turned into the hustle, loyalty, respect, it's just like, all right, I'm going to do these moves, and then boom. Because the dude actually has style, and he does have great maneuvers in his arsenal.
Essentially, it was your Hulk Hogan.
It was
your Rock. It was, it was Stone Cold. Like, whenever you have somebody at the tippy top,
yep,
they play the greatest hit. It's like when you have a band that has made it. Excuse me.
I heard you.
And you have them, they get to a certain point where they play the hits, and that's it. And it's less about the talent, and you're just seeing the person. And we saw him in his final run. His match with AJ was really good.
That was one of my favorite matches of the run.
The match he had with Dom, the first one on Raw, shockingly good.
The Survivor Series was what it was. You knew it was going to be running after running after running.
I personally would have preferred a clean finish, but
I get it for the story.
Yeah. I think it would have been better for Dom if it was a clean finish. That way he could have said, look, I beat John Cena clean.
Mm-hmm. And to go back to the first run for a second, like you did mention how what is this Vanilla Ice bullshit? I've always loved the authenticity factor of okay, John loves hip hop, he loves rap. Eminem's 8 Mile was big at the time. You got to see him. All right, who did you prefer of the two that was better as his sidekick? Red Dog, very briefly, aka Rodney Mack, or Bull Buchanan as B Squared?
Honestly, I kind of like B Squared, because
Booyah!
I think Bull Buchanan was highly underrated.
I mean, he got a King of the Ring push in 2000.
They tried.
They tried. I mean, former tag team champion with the Good Father, RTC baby. But no, Bull Buchanan as B Squared. I mean, it was cool as a bodyguard. He needed a big guy.
Wasn't Bull Buchanan's kid in NXT?
Yeah, Brooks Jensen. He's in Evolve. But yeah, I thought that was a fun little team. They had a great feud with the Guerreros. That's another one John Cena beat and feuded with Eddie Guerrero, the infamous parking lot brawl. As far as the first run, did you like the fact that he's beating all these guys? He's having great matches with Kurt Angle. Did you see him? And honestly, even at the time when I was a kid, when he wrestled Brock Lesnar for the title at Backlash 03 after Brock beat Kurt at WrestleMania, I didn't see him winning the title at all. But I was very happy that they showcased him in his hometown there. What did you think about that?
I figured back then, I was like, yeah, he's okay. I figured upper mid card guy, Intercontinental champion, U.S. champion, what have you. Couple tag title runs, but I figured that would be about it. But I'm pleasantly surprised by how well he's done. I mean, I thought some of his world title runs are bullshit, but
I mean, they came like a time when you and I used to laugh because it's just like, oh, John's feuding with this one, him and Batista win the tag titles. Oh, John's feuding with this one, him and Shawn Michaels are the tag team champions. Him and The Miz are the tag team champions.
He was feuding with Wade Barrett, and he and Otunga were tag
team champions. That was like a common theme. Like he would win the tag titles with his enemies.
I mean, and I get that whole thing. I remember, was it SummerSlam 97 where Undertaker and Stone Cold were tag champions?
I think that was 98.
98. And then at one point, Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin were tag champions.
Yep.
Then Shawn disappeared. Probably lost his smile again.
Lost the smile, yes. But no, that was my thing too. I think when you look at someone like a John Cena, and you even look at the first run too, like the way he turned babyface, just the fact that he didn't side with Team Lesnar against Team Angle, which, by the way, if you think about it, because Paul Heyman was the GM at the time, in a way you kind of think it doesn't make any sense, because if you remember, Paul Heyman turned on him, sided with the Big Show, then he sided with Kurt Angle, and then he fought Brock in the cage, and Brock killed him. Like, they were beefing, and now all of a sudden they're homies again because Brock's a heel. Like, do you realize like that whole thing never made sense in 03?
The whole issue, and I'm going to go off on a tangent because God damn, this kind of pisses me off.
Go ahead.
How many fucking times have we seen Paul Heyman turn on Brock?
The Roman thing. The Big Show. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
But multiple times.
Multiple times, yeah.
And yet, Brock's cool with him again. Heyman's managing him again. Like
they're cool. They're not cool.
Like, fucking stop insulting your fans' intelligence. I mean, if this isn't proof that Triple H and the writers think the fans are stupid,
mm-hmm.
This is it. This is your sign here, people.
Look, I am just okay as long as Obafemi mollywops him at WrestleMania. That would be
God damn.
Yep, that power bomb was sweet. We touched upon on the last episode of the RWT podcast.
Cheap Pop number 1.
Go back and watch our episode because we loved Obafemi. That's probably
you should have seen it already, but watch it again.
Yeah, watch it again.
And again, and again, and again, and again.
But that was my thing too. I think that out of all the 5 matches that are announced for WrestleMania right now, like I'm really looking forward to that one. I am.
I'm definitely looking forward to that one. The 2 world title matches, I feel are both so predictable as far as outcomes. Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre, I think is going to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
If he's cleared,
after
I
what
think
happened,
Finn versus Dominic is going to be good too.
Yeah, I hope so, because that'll be sweet. They're not doing Julie and Tiffany at WrestleMania as of right now. They're doing it next week on SmackDown.
And so, there's probably going to be some fuckery, and they'll do something at Mania.
Hey, Jelly Roll is wrestling on SmackDown next week. He's taking on Kit Wilson.
There's going to be a stagnant.
Look, I'm okay with it, but I think, and we've mentioned this so many times at WrestleMania, WrestleMania still, even though we are kind of looking at certain possibilities, it's still very meh. You know what I'm saying? It's still very meh.
We are at this point,
like
less than a month out.
Yep.
In years past, we knew what the card was. We knew what the full card was at this point. And I remember, I'm like, you can attest to this, the full build-up, the full card. You knew there were storylines for everything, and you were excited. You knew you had to tune into Raw, or you'd read the results for SmackDown because it was always taped on a Tuesday, aired on a Friday.
Yep.
At least I did that.
I did that too.
And I would look at the results and think, "Ooh, that sounds interesting. I gotta watch that.
Gotta watch that." Yep. Here's my thing. I remember when I came down here. This is before I lived in South Kakalaki full time. So WrestleMania 23, I knew beforehand. We knew Battle of the Billionaires. You knew Cena versus Shawn Michaels. You knew Batista versus The Undertaker. You knew that the women were going to have the match, Melina and Ashley Massaro, God rest her soul. You knew that they were going to do Great Khali and Kane. You knew ECW against the New Breed. Like, you had all of these matches intact for WrestleMania 23. Like, you knew what was going to be on the card. And then now we go to this one. It's just like, okay. Let's see what they do with this.
There's no surprises.
No, there's no surprises.
If I'm not mistaken, ECW, like the OG ECW won that match, right?
Yeah, they beat the New Breed.
So technically, you could say that Sabu is undefeated at WrestleMania.
Yes, you can. Same with the Sandman.
Sandman is undefeated at WrestleMania.
Speaking of WrestleMania, I have to say this before we go back to our Cena talk. They did announce the newest member of the Hall of Fame today, as of this recording. For the celebrity wing, he is a former member of the NWO, legendary basketball player for the Chicago Bulls, the one, the only, Dennis Rodman. Your thoughts on Dennis Rodman going to the WWE Hall of Fame?
Of all celebrities you could induct,
and you pick Rodman.
Him?
I mean,
he's going in before Miss Elizabeth,
Cyndi Lauper,
Leilani Kai, Cyndi Lauper, but Rodman.
I mean, him and Hogan against Karl Malone and DDP and WCW, the Tonight
Karl
Show.
Malone.
Karl Malone, yes. But that's the thing. Like, I mean, he's had legendary stuff, of course.
Wasn't he also in the one where it was? I think it was he and Hogan versus DDP and Jay Leno.
No, that was Hogan and Bischoff.
Yes, people. Jay Leno actually did wrestle a match.
He wrestled in WCW, and
it was terrible.
It was horrible. It was in Sturgis, and he put a fucking arm bar on Hulk Hogan. Oh Lord. But no, I agree with you. The thing too with that is, like, Dennis Rodman also did Celebrity Championship Wrestling, but like that's his stint in wrestling. He was in the NWO for a cup of coffee and did a celebrity.
And he did an AEW appearance.
That too. What the hell was the AEW appearance? I think I remember this.
I think he was like a manager or some shit for
somebody. Was that during COVID when you also had Tyson and all those guys and Snoop doing the Snoop splash? Yeah. Oh.
We had Shaq wrestle.
And fucking Shaq and Jade Cargill against Cody and Red Velvet. I remember. Fucking Dennis Rodman.
God, those were dark times in wrestling.
Yeah. But congratulations to the Rodman. Who's inducting him?
Yeah.
Well,
should be interesting.
Who's inducting him? Bischoff?
Probably.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe he'll get Carmen Electra as ex.
First of all, I love me some Carmen Electra.
I don't think Dave Navarro does.
Oh, you went there. Yeah, you went there. Dave Navarro.
I actually watched that show.
I know you did. I know. Hey, I remember her from her appearance in Good Burger as Roxanne from Nickelodeon. Like, oh, Roxanne.
You know, every time I hear that movie, I think, "Welcome to Good Burger, home
oh,
of the Good Burger.
Can I take your order?
The movie was terrible, but I will tell you, all that back in the 90s
was the shit.
So many memorable skits. Lester Oaks, construction worker.
Super dude.
Repairman, man. Pierre.
Escargot. Yep. Good times. Really good time. Dan Schneider, you can go fuck yourself, but the show was an excellent show. Absolutely.
Fuck the Dan Schneider.
Fuck the Dan Schneider. Okay. So before we get into what we would have done with this heel turn, I did mention that his first run we did enjoy, even looking back at that 23 years later. The matches with Guerrero, Angle, Taker will be here all day. Brock, the face turn comes where he goes with Team Angle against Team Lesnar. Did you like the face turn at the end of 03?
It was good. You know, and it's, I will say Cena gets a lot of shit for reasons justifiable. You know, he's made no bones about, you know, his past, you know, things he would have done differently.
Yep.
But the thing I will respect him for, ECW One Night Stand 06.
Walking into the enemy territory.
I get smaller venue, but I have never heard a reaction like that. I remember like just 10 minutes of him trying to toss out the shirt.
Like you throwing it back at him.
And like, I do wonder whatever became of that shirt.
Somebody wiped their ass with it at the time, if I remember correctly.
So I think somebody wiped their ass with it. Somebody, I think, wiped their groin region with it.
Yep.
And I remember seeing that infamous sign, "If Cena wins, we riot." People have done it since, like with different people.
Nothing.
But honestly, and Mike, you can back me up on this.
As a New Yorker,
I really think if Cena had won that night,
they would have. As a New Yorker and as a fellow New Yorker like Dan is, we can attest they would have. They absolutely would have.
Especially, I mean, look, people, with New York State, there is a fine line between like Western New York, Central New York, all the regions of New York.
Yep.
But then you get down to New York City, and Mike, you were Long Island, right?
I was a Long Island kid. Yep.
When you actually get into the city, that is a whole nother beast.
It really is. I can attest to it. Yep.
And you know, I think honestly the first One Night Stand was better, but Cena versus Van Dam was a good match.
It was, and I mean, like you mentioned, to go off the point of people have tried it years later with the sign, that stood up just because of the fact that John Cena has even said, like, I think he wanted to do a spot where he fought in the crowd, and he's like, I'm kind of glad I didn't do that spot. And I'm like, yep, because it would have been bad if they would have started fighting in the crowd.
Oh, easily. I think it would have been freaking cool.
But it would have been bad. I think it would have been really bad.
You know, I will say as an aside, I do think that whole pay-per-view was indicative of how the new ECW was going to go.
I mean, when you have Sandman caning Eugene and Big Dick Johnson.
And I'm talking more Sabu versus Rey Mysterio.
That DDT through the table.
And it being a disqualification.
Disqualification.
And Sabu, God rest his soul, said he got heat because he got right up. And I just basically walked to the back.
It was like that match.
They didn't want him losing. They didn't want Rey Mysterio losing.
They kind of did that too when he wrestled. I think it was Stevie Richards on the Saturday Night's Main Event, and he put him through the table, and they rang the bell. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like stuff like that, like just was so ridiculous. It's like it's ECW. What the fuck are we doing here?
Like, I mean, people, you had to know it wasn't going to be the same ECW. Because look at it this way. It was WWE. It was corporate. It was never going to be the same.
No, not at all.
I mean, first episode of ECW on the Sci-Fi.
The zombie.
God rest his soul.
Yep.
Sandman beat the ever-living fuck out of him.
Yes, he did.
And Sandman has even said he regrets it.
Well, poor Tim Arson. That week, you're wrestling Matt Stryker on an episode of Sunday Night Heat, and then you got to go to TV to do the zombie and get your ass kicked by the Sandman.
And hit hard.
But he did not hold back on those shots. And then the White Russian leg sweep. Yep. But I will say this about John Cena, like you mentioned, going to ECW territory. People have said for years that was one of the reasons why they stopped watching WWE was the PG product, and he was a product of that. Do you think in a way that that's fair to Cena? Because he's just doing what he's doing. I mean, there was that time with the bologna fudge and mustard, and him saying that crap was really cringeworthy and terrible in 09 and 010 and 2010. But I'm like, God dang it, man. Like, a lot of people like really tuned out because of the PG stuff.
I don't think it was necessarily just that.
It was other stuff.
Exactly. That was a big part of it. But if you think about it, that time they really didn't have any competition. I mean, TNA was there and putting on great shows. I dare say that was the golden age of TNA.
I mean, with 2010, that's when they started doing the Monday Night Wars that only lasted like a month before WWE kicked their butt. But
like anyone, if you honestly thought that they could compete with WWE,
you were out of your mind.
I mean, now,
sure,
if they didn't have that partnership,
maybe
I could see it because WWE's on Netflix. You could just watch it later.
Yep, that is very true. But it's one of those things where I did not mind him. I thought he did some stupid stuff. I mean, the shirt and all that, and the Fruity Pebbles, as The Rock would call them. But I've always looked at it like this. I think with John Cena, the Make-A-Wish, he relates to the kids. He was that superhero, larger-than-life character, and he made it work. And he was just really, really invested in his time and the effort he put into his wrestling ability, into his character. And that's what made him the GOAT and the legend that he is. And this goes to my other question before we start on this run from 2025. Do you think he should have turned heel after WrestleMania 28 against The Rock?
Honestly, I think you could make the argument that it should have been before that.
Okay, that's a fair assessment.
And Cena's even said there were times where he wanted to. But the issue is, and it's the problem we're dealing with Cody right now, he's moving so much merch, Vince was afraid to pull the trigger.
I think Wade Barrett even said that, like, when they started doing the Nexus stuff, like, he even said, like, John Cena, if you notice, when he was joined with the Nexus after that match, he wore his own stuff. He didn't wear a Nexus t-shirt because of the merch. Like, I'm not going to wear a Nexus t-shirt, no.
He wore the armband, but that was it.
I'm like, I'm not wearing the shirt. I'll wear the armband, but I ain't wearing the shirt.
One of the things I will say, I think that what was that? SummerSlam 2012?
2010 was the Nexus.
2010, Wade Barrett and Nexus versus Team Cena.
Yeah, they should have won.
And Cena has admitted since that was the wrong call.
Yeah, Edge and Jericho were telling him, like, what the hell are you talking about? You got to lose the match.
Like, honestly, that was a elimination style, correct?
Yep, that was the 5-on-5 or whatever the hell it was.
It should have been a clean sweep for the Nexus.
Yeah, I mean, when you have 7-on-7 and it comes down to John Cena against Wade Barrett and Justin Gabriel, and he takes a DDT on the concrete and then he beats them both, and that's it. It's ridiculous.
But, there were times where he could have turned heel that I think would have been effective. It is what it is. But
do you think it would have been cool because 2012 we could have erased him going against Brock for the first time at that Extreme Rules. Then he would feud with John Laurinaitis, the Big Show, wins Money in the Bank, and that stupid face he had, oh my God, I won. The CM Punk feud in 2012. And then, of course, we got what we got with Dolph Ziggler and AJ Lee. Do you think that they could have even redid like some of that? Even if he would have turned heel then, it would have been cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think you could have done you could have made the argument when Roman was a face the first time, and it was clear he was the heir apparent. You could have brought in Cena and been like, "Hey, you used to cheer me. I was the company guy, and now you replace me with him."
That's a fair comparison. Well, he did with the whole, I could do this better part-time than you can full-time. So there's something that they could add that layer to. I personally think if you really want to do something fun, like when Cena and The Rock fought the Awesome Truth at Survivor Series 2011, you could have had him turn on The Rock during the match. That would have been something. He was already getting booed in Madison Square Garden.
I did it for The Rock.
I did it for the people. Like, you could have done stuff there, but I don't know. It's just they teased it for many years. You had so many times that you could have done it during the 2010s even, but you decided not to. And I get it, but at the same time, too, I felt, as we talk about this heel run, do you think that this was 13 years too late? If the original plan was in 2012 and then you do it in 2025 in this last run, do you think it was 13 years too late?
I do. Granted, I think this final heel run took a lot of balls to do. I remember watching it and thinking like, oh shit.
Kicked Cody right in the balls, hit him with the watch, bloodied him. Travis Scott being the chode that he is, and The Rock, like, it was interesting. It was cool. Travis Scott did not need to be there, by the way, just to say that once more. But it was interesting for the fact that, okay, you're not going to turn Cody, but you're going to turn John. And did you like the visual, of course, of the hug and looking him in the eye and then right in the nuts?
Oh, yeah. Like, honestly, watching that, like, thinking, like, oh, they're not going to do it. They're not.
They did it.
Oh.
They did it.
And honestly, that was in Toronto. I did have the chance to go see that. But honestly, I don't like driving in Toronto.
Fair enough.
And then you have to drive 2 hours back.
Yep.
Get over the bridge. Get over the border.
Yep.
No, I'm good.
I don't blame you on that front with that drive and that extensive travel. I get it, Daniel. I get it. Now, before even we got to the heel turn, because I thought the presentation was done so well, I was invested. I wanted to see where they go. But did you also like how in the Royal Rumble it came down to him and Jay, and then Jay just kind of shoves him off and he wins the Rumble? Did you like him putting over Jay in the Rumble?
I did. I think if you look at that, if you really think back to that Rumble and you look at Cena.
Yep.
We got the teases of the heel turn. Because if you remember, like, the look that he gave Jay, like, thinking, like, fuck. And then we got it in the presser where he basically comes out and just says, I am telling you now, you have however many days for them to say whatever they want. I am entering myself into the Royal Rumble.
Elimination Chamber.
The Elimination Chamber, and I will win.
And he did.
And I think he last beat Punk, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, well, yeah, so Seth came in and hit the curb stomp on Punk, and then Punk passed out to the pain and Cena won.
So I think that kind of was a good move, personally. I don't know. I liked it. I think the heel turn was executed very well.
And then
I think we got his first promos, the first couple weeks, I thought were incredible.
Making the kid cry in Belgium, I'm in a toxic relationship. You people get nothing. Nothing.
What do we get? What do we get? And just the mocking. Like, I loved it. And when you look in the crowd and you see fans crying,
yep.
Is it sad? Yeah.
Yep.
But is it effective?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
When a 5-year-old gives you the finger, you know it's bad.
I mean, I think back to when Miz cashed in Money in the Bank the first time and won. Angry Miz Girl.
Yeah, that
her look like that. I still say kudos to that cameraman.
I agree. Well, it also just shows how great heel that the Miz was, because nobody wanted to see him win, and especially on Randy Orton at the time.
Exactly. Like, and now I think he's at a point where he's been doing this long, and the people respect the fuck out of him.
Well, yeah, officially on the main roster for 20 years. Yep.
And I still say he doesn't get the flowers he deserves.
Well, he can't get anything right now. He's cursed.
Exactly. He should listen to Danhausen.
He should have. He should have. Now he's got ladders falling on him, as you saw tonight on SmackDown. No. Listen to Danhausen.
All he had to do, you are
cursed. Now, here's my thing with John Cena's heel turn. So I love the promo in Belgium. The Cody promos, like the one where he was talking about him being, taking a spoiled rich kid's daddy's money with AEW, and Cody going back and forth. And there were some good promos. I think it started to lose me because after every week, it was just like, okay, he hit him with the crossroads and he doesn't do anything. And then Cena comes back, he gets laid out again. I think it kind of got a little bit repetitive. And I think at the end of the day, going into WrestleMania, I was kind of very mad with it. Were you excited for their build? Because there were points where it felt very repetitive on the road to WrestleMania.
It could have been better. I think they could have done a bit where Cena looks at Cody and just says, "They're cheering you now." Think of the scene from The Dark Knight where Joker's talking to Batman in the police interrogation scene, in the interrogation room, and Joker says, "Oh, sure, they love you now, but when the chips are down, they'll turn on you."
They'll turn on you.
You could have had Cena just say, "Yeah, they love you right now, but eventually they're going to turn on you. They're going to boo you."
I like that.
Because look at it. It's happening.
Now, can you imagine John Cena doing on the side? Can you imagine doing the Dark Knight voice? Look at it now. It's happening. Yeah, come on. Like, perfect. Like, I like your style there, and I like how you tweaked it to also relatively to pop culture and life in itself. But at the end of the day, too, I think you had so many things where it just couldn't have been, I want the real John Cena back. I want the real John Cena back. This is not my hero. This is not my hero. It's like, how many times are you going to say that? You know what I'm saying?
And then we got him beating up R-Truth, Ron Cena.
Put him right through the friggin' announce. Yeah. Put him right through the friggin' table. Right through the friggin' table at the press conference. Yep.
And then R-Truth disappears and comes back as like this heel face combo. And then he's back just doing the same old shtick.
They tried to parallel it, like John Cena lost himself, and now he's back. Same with R-Truth. But he cut his hair, now he's bald-headed. And now he's one half of the tag champs.
Well, to be fair, his hairline was receding for ages.
That is very true. I'm not even going to lie. That is very true.
We got that awkward SmackDown segment where he cut his hair like on the commentator booth. Like,
yeah, that friggin' Raw was ridiculous. I'm like, what? What? I did find it funny when they both did this. And, it
was cringy.
Yeah, you were acting strange for a little bit there. Friggin' John, like they acknowledged it. I think John Cena, do you think deep down, even though he's very much corporate based and kind of gives a little fluff of an answer, like you got to know deep down, he thinks that the heel turn sucked.
Oh, yeah. But see, here's the thing. Him being a company guy, he takes the fault, which to me, bullshit. He shouldn't have.
No, he should not have.
I think the problem is, let's go back to WrestleMania 41, closing moments.
Yep.
The way I would have booked it, Travis Scott, that whole thing never would have happened.
Well, you know why you don't want it to happen. Fiend.
Shut up.
He hates that song. Shut up. You hate that song so much. It's so bad.
I swear to fucking God, if they bring this song back this year, I'm not going to be happy. But closing moments, Cody hits Crossroads, hits AA, Crossroads, Cena kicks out. Cody hits him with another 3 Crossroads, Cena still kicks out. Referee gets bumped, and Cody gets hit in the dick. Cena brings in the belt. Cody tries another crossroads. Miz doesn't get it. Cena hits Cody with the crossroads on the belt and pins him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, because it's always been a big thing in wrestling. One, you don't steal your opponent's finisher.
Mm-hmm.
And I cannot remember a time when someone has won a match by using their opponent's finish.
No, you're right on that.
To me, if you want to get a boo, that's how you do it.
Depending with their own finish, yep.
And as far as Cena goes, I think the first issue they had is
The Rock.
That and keeping the music. Don't have them come out to anything.
Kind of like they did with Kozlov and Ciampa.
Yeah. Just you see the black background with just the John Cena and the white letters. Just have them come out.
Just get booed. The cheers and the boos is what takes him out. Yep. I mean, you could have had him record another song. I mean, he had so many songs he could have used. Like there was that unreleased one where he's just talking about, trademark of John Cena. Like that one would have been fun. The Untouchable song. I mean, he could have had so many things that he could have used out of his even own music library. But I think that really does signify and symbolize it best with no music. But I also look at it like this. I truly believe, and I've honestly said that, first of all, the match at WrestleMania 41 was bad. I was not a fan of that match at all, with him just hitting him in the nuts, and then the friggin' belt shot 1, 2, 3. I thought that was lame with the Travis Scott thing. I think if The Rock wouldn't have left, we could have had something so much better if we had The Rock with him, and they had that little cool thing. But
then we got Fiend.
And you could have had a moment with The Rock, but no. The Rock just was like, get a voice.
They never needed The Rock.
Right.
But I think it's an ego thing.
You think they just want to get I think they've even said it's for moments. Like they wanted likes, they wanted to go viral, and it worked.
And the problem is, I remember how excited we all were when, Rock was getting involved with TKO, and we thought, cool, that means he's going to be around a lot more. Nope.
Like, if he had just stopped at WrestleMania 40, I would have been fine. But when you have the whole thing of the build to WrestleMania being, I want your soul, all right, fine, whatever. I think the whole build up to that, Cody and Cena did their part, but The Rock did not follow up. And then, it just went to crap. I got to ask you, did you enjoy him and Randy Orton right after that? Orton, the RKO, oh shit! And friggin' that whole thing was funny. But did you like the fact that, I think for me, you're invested because of the nostalgia, and these are your people that you grew up watching and who are synonymous with your wrestling fandom. But when Randy Orton's like, how dare you insult my father, and all this and trying to be reasonable, I'm like, Randy, you literally punted John Cena's father in the head twice, and you made his life miserable for years, and now you're the sensible one. Did you think the thing was cool for the nostalgia factor, but also kind of illogical to the fact that Randy Orton did all that stuff to John Cena?
It did. Like, good guy Randy was kind of in, because it's like he was rallying against all this shit, and it's like, dude, you literally did the same thing.
Yep, exactly. Did you like the whole synonymous thing? And this even goes with the Randy feud, how John Cena just wanted to ruin wrestling. Did you like him with the whole emphasis on ruin wrestling?
Yeah. I think, when we talk about what we would have done differently, first thing I'll tell you, I would not have had him lose to Cody at SummerSlam.
Okay.
I would have had him retain.
Yep.
I still would have had him lose to Gunther.
Yes.
But I would have had him lose the title to Gunther.
I like that because I think you have Gunther, not only does it solidify the career killer, but having him win the title that was synonymous with him and the great reigns that he's had, it just amps him up even more to where he is.
Yeah.
We mentioned Dom, and we mentioned, of course, I have to put this over too as well. The Randy stuff was fine, and we mentioned R-Truth and the hilarity there in the Saturday night's main event. Did you like him and Logan Paul against Jey Uso and Cody?
It was fine. It's.
I mean, you had him putting over Logan Paul as the greatest wrestler ever. I thought it was fine too, but the best part of that match, I think, was just R-Truth coming back.
Absolutely. And as an aside, I'll say I don't think Logan Paul gets enough credit as a competitor.
I hate him as a person, but as a wrestler, he's great. I'm not going to deny that.
As a person, I think he's a turd.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
Not a fan. But as a wrestler, yeah.
He's earned it.
Are you looking forward? I know we kind of said on the last show with the RWT podcast, G-Pop number 2. Were you I'm kind of very mad about him and Austin Theory going against the Usos. Because I think the vision with everybody hurt, it's just like, who cares at this point?
To me, him and Theory going up against the Usos is too obvious.
Yeah.
But Rollins will probably interfere.
And the Usos will win.
I've heard reports of Seth and Gunther, Seth versus Logan.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't know if Braun is going to be ready, if he's going to be cleared. But it's sad to think of, like with Bronson, that would have been better. Bronson versus Seth at Mania again. I would have watched that.
I would too. I think Bronson has really come a long way.
He has, and just that injury was such a freak injury.
Just friggin' breaking up the pin and unrolling your freaking bicep, man.
And I watched it back, and you couldn't tell, like, he landed awkwardly.
And then he's looking at it, and he's like, oh, man. Because he knows he's hurt. You can see the look on his face like he goes, I know I'm hurt. And it stinks. It happens. Like, some of the smallest little things lead to the biggest of freak injuries. And, I mean, speaking of freak things, it's so crazy to even think about this, Daniel. Another thing we have to point out from the turn, him and CM Punk, I think, was probably one of the best things. The promos going back and forth, making him go to Saudi Arabia, especially knowing what he said at the time to fight for the belt. I liked him dressing as basic thugonomics. John Cena did Punk, and him just getting all teary-eyed, I'm going to miss you to him. Did you like the Cena Punk feud, and did you like the match in Saudi Arabia, even though it led to that finish?
Both men were older. I don't think it quite lived up to their first feud.
Yeah, it didn't live up to the Money in the Bank match, no.
To me, nothing's going to top that.
No, because it was real life, him like, I'm leaving. Where am I? Like, that was the best part about it.
And up until that moment, he was leaving.
And then he signed right on the dotted line right beforehand.
Like, if I remember right, Punk, I think, said he signed like 20 minutes before the match.
Yeah, he signed like right before the match.
And I did like Cena's his pipe bomb promo.
Hey, Matt Cardona, Claudio Castagnoli, how you doing?
That was nice.
That was fun. Like, I thought if you would have told me that I would see John Cena doing a pipe bomb in pro wrestling as a heel, I would have told you we're nuts. But I thought that was one of the best parts of the feud. Like, that pipe bomb was awesome. It was identical to it, but it also had a little flavor to it with the superstars he mentioned. So I thought that was cool with a nice little twist.
Seeing Cardona get mentioned, get his flowers.
Same with Claudio.
He's so incredible. Like, both guys are.
Agreed. It's one of those things for me where you have guys like Claudio and Cardona getting their flowers, like you mentioned. The match in itself, I thought it was like, did you even like how John Cena wrestled as the heel, the slower pace, and then he would cheat by hitting him with the belt? Did you like how like the pace of his matches were? Because the Punk match was fine. They understood the assignment, but I think the heel turn with how he wrestled, it was like, ugh.
Yeah. Like, I kind of liked it. You know, it's like you're used to him going a certain style, and then he switched it up.
And you get it, but it's just like, come on, man. I think were you at this point too? and I don't know if you can agree with me on this, where you're just like, all right, can we turn him back babyface now?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, can we turn him back babyface now?
I think the problem they made is that WrestleMania, Travis Scott took his sweet ass time.
Oh, he was just so slow getting to the ring. It was ridiculous.
He should have been ringside already.
That I would agreed with. Absolutely.
And he was supposed to team with Cena at Money in the Bank.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Cena and Travis Scott against, was it Cody and Jay? Like, but then they
I
got
think so.
But yeah,
but he tried saying that he was training with Booker T,
which he wasn't.
Booker T's like, yeah, that never happened.
Yeah.
And then, he's, from what I've heard, if I remember right, he stopped showing up to, he stopped taking their calls.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think he probably realized, like, yeah, this wrestling stuff isn't for me. I think that was the main thing.
Like, Logan Paul even said in an interview, I think he said it on an episode of his podcast even.
Yeah.
I was surprised he was, like, the first time he touched a ring, he's like, this is hard.
Yep, it hurts. It's not, it doesn't feel good. It's not soft. It's not like a trampoline.
It's not soft.
Soft? Oh, God.
How you doing?
But no, I think that was the thing, too. Like, personally, I'm glad with what we got there because I didn't want to see Travis Scott wrestle.
No.
Now,
but I think that was the first fuck up that they had.
Yeah. Did you like the road to SummerSlam with John Cena and Cody? I thought the match was way better than the WrestleMania one. And then, of course, John turning babyface on the SmackDown prior. Did you like the build-up and then Cody doing that splash through the table? John making excuses. Did you like the road back to the face turn?
To me, it was too rushed. I think they realized they lost the plot.
Yes.
What they should have done, Cody turns on Cena.
Yes.
Like, that would have been the time to bring The Rock back and have him look and just be like, what about it? And at that time, have Cena kind of, you think Cena's going to do it. You think Cena's going to just be a dick and turn and just go back to being a heel. It's Cody this time.
Because he saw the weakness of John, and then Cody is like, I'm going to capitalize on this.
And Cody wants to be a WWE champion again.
Yes, he does. That would have been a nice twist, but again, we're also at the point where it's just like, okay, John's getting this reaction. We're going to go to the point of we're going to put him back as the babyface. So you had to do something. And I thought it was nice, the whole hug and everything at the end. Again, way better than the WrestleMania match. But I think the road to where we got from February to August, we could have done a lot of things that were different. But I think John Cena, even doing this run as a whole, really showcased what a legend he was. And they tried something, and there were some fun nostalgia bits in between. And he worked with the people he wanted to work with, a lot of them. But it's just like, man, like, it just felt so bleh. Like,
his match with AJ was incredible.
That was the best. Dominic, we mentioned, was good.
The thing that I think was an absolute mistake. Cody beats Cena. Cena's in the ring.
And here comes Brock.
And then you hear the music.
And then Brock came out.
And it's just like,
why? I mean, I get it. But here's my thing. I've still said this, and I will stick to this, Daniel. He should have mollywopped him at WrestlePalooza and not have a repeat of SummerSlam 2014. John Cena should have won that match.
And they wanted to rebuild Brock as a monster. People already know.
Well, yeah, that was John saying, it's like, I'm on my way out. Brock's coming back. We have to reestablish Brock. I'm like, he beat The Undertaker. Like, we know how much of a monster Brock Lesnar is. It wouldn't have hurt Brock if he would have lost. And then the kids cried.
Need I remind you that Paul Heyman's client, Brock Lesnar, conquered the streak.
I hate, I'm going to say this right now as an aside, as you would say, I hate that they're trying to make Brock Lesnar like the new Undertaker now with like, there's the main event match and then there's the Brock Lesnar match. I'm like, Brock Lesnar is not the Undertaker. You stop that right now.
Brock Lesnar's an old man.
He's almost 50. Stop it.
Stop it. He's just... Now, Obafemi,
on the other hand, is not. My thing too is, I think, do you agree that Brock Lesnar should have lost and John Cena should have got his comeuppance from 11 years prior? Yeah. If you're on the babyface run, he needs to get more wins. I'm going to say this right now, the Logan Paul match was really good. I liked that match. I thought it was great that we got to see him in these last set of matches do tributes, like the Skull Crushing finale, the End of Days, the Sister Abigail, the Styles Clash, the RKO, like so many different things that were so cool about that run and the nostalgia hits and those factors. But I think at the end of the day, too, the only thing that I really hated, besides a lot of the aspects of the heel turn and the style of wrestling, which I understood, but it's like, no, the Brock Lesnar one really pissed me off because I really wanted to see him get his lick back at Brock. Dominic, like we mentioned, was cool. Gunther, a lot of people have always crapped on the sleeper holding him just like the smile before he goes to sleep. That was the thing a lot of people crapped on. And everybody booed Triple H on the way out. I mean, would you have had in this situation like John Cena win because, they go out on the head held high? Or would you? I thought it was the right call that Gunther win.
I liked the ending.
Yes.
The smile was, a
little much
what it was. But at the same time, when you think back to it, Cena's a traditionalist,
Yes.
Cena's not the kind of guy who's going to be like, hey, I'm going to win my last match. And yeah, that whole thing has kind of gone away a little bit. But it was the right call. Now, I think it would have been better to see him just tap out or just pass out.
That would have been my thing, too, just because it would have been more effective. Kind of like what we got with Gunther and AJ at the Rumble. My thing, too, is Gunther was the right guy just because he's white hot. And also at the same time, too, when it comes to John Cena, like, he's done this with so many people. Like, he made I'll even go back to Solo Sikoa when Solo absolutely mollywopped him in Saudi Arabia. Like, he helped make Solo that night. And I think a lot of people get to see that. Like, when Kurt Angle lost to Baron Corbin, we were all pissed because it's like Baron Corbin. But it did a lot for Corbin because he could say, I ended Kurt Angle's run. He became a big heel from that. So there's ways to do it. But I know, man, I think a lot of people wanted to see Cena go out and held high, but then that happened. But I thought the booking was fine.
When you have that, I think Gunther was a perfect person because I still remember when the match ended, Michael Cole says, tonight, pro wrestling killed sports entertainment.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah, that's right. That was a perfect line to end it on. It really was.
And it's... The argument could have been made that Gunther should have been put back in the title picture immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It was said he was supposed to wrestle Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania.
I would have been. I like the match; it's cool, but I wouldn't be that interested. I get it; he would be avenging Dragon Lee as his protege, but at the same time, too, no. No.
Now, some people speculated that Rey was going to retire, and then he didn't want to, have Gunther retire him. He wants Dominic to do it, which to me, that makes the most sense.
For Dom to do it, yeah.
Like, I think if you're going to retire Rey, it needs to be Dom versus Rey in a mask. The mask needs to be on the line.
Mask versus career, yes. But I think, too, Gunther and Rey have great chemistry, and I get the career killer gimmick there, but I'm very indifferent to that. And also, poor Rey getting hurt again. Rey's hurt again. Poor Dom with his concussion protocol. It's just like Rey can't catch a break, like, at all. Like, dare I say, at all.
I like Rey. I really, really do, but let's call it what it is. It may be time for him to start thinking about packing it in.
I'm right there with you. And I mean, to go on even packing it into the kind of tie into Rey Mysterio, we mentioned the match that they had on Raw. John Cena's one title that he did not win was the Intercontinental title. He wins it, even though he dropped it like a week later to Dom. I thought, or was it a week later? Did he drop it like, no, it was a week later because Survivor Series was the following week. Did you like him winning the Intercontinental title, finally winning that? And did you like, a lot of people crapped on this segment, Daniel, the little person / midget that came out with as John Cena with Dominic? Did you like that segment?
See, to me, stuff like that is, and no pun intended, it's low-hanging fruit. It's too easy.
Do you know what it reminded me of?
What?
John Cena and Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle comes out doing the rapping thing, and then you have little person dressed as Kurt making Kurt Angle dressed as John Cena tap out in 03. So I thought that callback was kind of funny. But yeah, everybody pissed on that segment. But for what we got in that week, and then Dom beating Cena and winning it back, I still thought it was a cool moment to see John Cena win the Intercontinental Championship. How about you?
It was a nice touch, He didn't need to win. He didn't need to hold it long. Like, he could have lost it the same night. It's just that he won it,
which was cool.
Yeah, and I thought it made sense for Dom to win it back because, like, Gunther's been IC champion before. He's been world champion. It wouldn't make sense for him to win it.
Agreed. So, Daniel, what does make sense is the great career of John Cena.
I thought you were going to say the great career of Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg! Oh, we'll get to Bill Goldberg later in the season.
But not a great career.
Not a great career. The great career of John Cena, like we mentioned, the heel run, the start of Thugonomics. He got a rap gimmick to work, acting like a wanksta, dare I say, wigger, but it made sense. His entire career gave us moments and memories, and we thank you, John, for giving us those moments and memories. On a scale of 1 to 10 or a letter grade, what would you give this heel turn into 2025?
D-.
All right. If I'm being honest, just because there were some aspects that I thought were nice, I'm going to give it a C. I'm going to give it right in the middle. I think that's a little decent. What do you think? C? Does the C work for you? All right. I'll go C.
Because you can't see me.
I like that. Yes. But yeah, D- just for the fact of the execution and a lot of elements that we would have tweaked and whatnot. But yeah, it was something. It was a ballsy move for them to try, but ultimately it gave us the babyface back for the end of the run, which they needed to, and a lot of people were clamoring for. So we still got us some John Cena. It was nice to see him. And unfortunately now we can't see him, but we actually can. But thank you, John, for the memories, and we hope you enjoyed this edition of Uncaged. Dan, it was really great to obviously talk about and do these shows with you as always, but it's great to reminisce on John Cena's career and what we would have done with the heel turn. So I think we did a pretty good job of doing our booking. What do you think?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe in the future we do more. How would we have booked something?
Those are some future episodes of Uncaged. Yes, sir.
Maybe Mike and I have to fix what was wrong with the invasion.
That would be cool. That is an idea for next season. So with this season, we're just sprouting out the pearls of wisdom and sprouting out the ideas. Our next episode is going to be with our boy Robert Davis and possibly a Demoness if she is awake. We are going to be touching upon the history of the Bullet Club. We'll talk about the Young Bucks. We'll talk about AJ Styles, Jeff Jarrett, Adam Cole, Bye. We are going to be touching upon a lot of stuff that happened during that time period. Of course, Kenny Omega feuding with Cody. We're going to talk about a lot of cool stuff, but we are going to be too sweet when it comes to the Bullet Club. I look forward to doing that show as well. We got a lot of stuff coming this season, but main is John Cena. Thank you. Thank you for not ruining wrestling. And we're sorry for being in that toxic relationship with you, but we love you anyway, even though it's toxic. You are toxic, to quote Kit Wilson. So Dan, before we close this out, where can we follow you on the socials? The floor is yours.
I'm going to put links below. The pundit is back better than ever. New intro. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. You can find me on here with the RWT podcast. You can find me kicking it with TSK, all that good stuff. Mike and I got a lot of good stuff in the pipeline coming down. Make sure you check it out. Check out Mike's YouTube. Mike, what do you got going?
So, what do you want to talk about? As we talked about in this episode, folks, John Cena, what we would have done with the heel turn and our overall thoughts on it. You can check out all 6 seasons of Uncaged. As of right now, we are halfway through the season. We have about 5 or 6 more to go. I think we added a last one, and we'll spoil it now. We did add a little bonus episode, because usually we'd do about 10 episodes. But our 11th episode, like Daniel teased, how would we book? We're actually going to do a fantasy warfare, fantasy style of AEW versus WWE. So be on the lookout for that, because that one's going to be really fun. We have a lot of great shows coming this season. I'm going to win. You scared me. I'll pay you. I'm in fear for my life. We also got the RWT podcast with Dan, Paul Morales, and myself. We have Deep Into the Heart of Wrestling, myself, Robert, and Nicola. The Goon, the son of the Goon and I, the Stephen Mike Show. On the Mic with Mike, little pop culture, little LFC podcast, and On the Mic with Mike. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's SMShow1 or MCL92, Larkin_92 or MLarkinMB on the Instagram, StephenMikeShow.com, LFCfights.com. And y'all, we appreciate you subscribing, liking, or even commenting, even if you're being a chuckle fuck. Dan never forgets. It's so much more when it comes to these fine shows and content. So, with that being said, for Daniel Crimmins, my name is Mike Larkin. Thank you for listening to this edition of Uncaged, and we will see you in the next episode. Too sweet! You can't see me.
Subscribe to this channel!
Subscribe to the channel! You can't see me. Why? Why, John? Why?
All right.